Hello, hello. Welcome to the first episode of Queers in the Dark. I'm Simon.
And I'm Zack.
Just thank you so much for joining us. Don't you laugh at my awkwardness.
I'm gonna laugh at the awkwardness because you gotta break it up somehow.
I guess that's fair. So, I guess just starting with introductions. Again, I'm Simon. I am 23 years old. I am trans and use he, him pronouns. I am also Métis, which just basically means that my ancestors were French settlers that married basically indigenous women.
Not really
And
what métis is.
yeah, essentially, like specifically around the Red River area.
Okay.
Yeah. And like I usually joke around just saying that like I'm white, but like just mostly because that my skin literally looks like a piece of paper. But anyways,
So white you scared the shit out of Casper.
oh yeah, and I am a self-proclaimed cedar witch, as I basically was raised into witchcraft on my mom's side of the family, and I began to incorporate cedar magic into my practice like not that long ago, which is basically a type of divination-based practice, which was popular in the pre-Christianized Norway.
I did not know that about cedar magic. Well, I guess I did because like pre-Christian, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm Zack. I'm 24, but I'm a cis man. I use he/him pronouns. I am also a gay man. I too practice witchcraft. Mine more leans towards like the occult practices and not anything real
No
spe
real
no
specification.
real like yeah specialization or anything.
Yeah.
I am white as far as I know. However, there are rumors.
Ooh, we love rumors. Those are the best.
The
It goes back to the way that some people just like idolize like certain aspects of indigenous culture. Like again, just like white people using white sage and like sweetgrass and stuff like that just because it's like, oh my god, it fits my aesthetic.
I mean, I have white sage and sweetgrass in my apartment right now.
Yeah.
Like that was gifted from me from someone who is like actually native.
Yeah, it's different if it's gifted to you, but like if you go out to Green Earth or to Spencer's and buy it, then you kind of have a problem there, bud.
I mean, I can't really stop anyone from buying it.
Yeah.
It's just like, please don't, or like use an alternative, or
Yeah.
because honestly, lavender is great for cleansing.
Oh,
That's what I
yes.
use, whether it's the oil or like burning incense. And
Yeah, if you want to smoke cleanse, there's a bunch of different smudge sticks that you can get, which is like mostly like cedar, lavender. That's all really good
your
stuff.
cedar is really good for cleansing.
And if for whatever reason you do sort of like have to, at least make sure that you're like buying off of like a reserve or something. Again, not just like these like basically fast fashion
It's why I
places.
don't buy anything that's like oils or stuff from like Walmart or I don't want to say shoppers, but like shoppers.
Yeah.
Not to really call out any like big brands.
Yeah. Well, we're not getting sponsored.
No, we're not. Not from them. Like, yeah, I'll go to like a resort because, like, at least then I know it's way more likely to be natural based and that it's literally from the earth and not just chemicals.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
What was this podcast about again?
I think monsters, cryptids.
Ah, yes. All the spooky, scary things of the world. So, Zach, why are we making this podcast?
Because I'm a. You can edit that out, please. But mostly because I think we've both had have had or do have passions for the paranormal and the understanding of things that may or may not exist
Yeah.
or did at one point and no longer do, like the giant sloths and the fucking Amazons,
Yeah.
which I would absolutely love to go over that at some point.
Oh my god, really?
Yeah.
And, like, not to mention, again, with us both growing up as, like, witches, that's, like, what we bonded over in elementary school when we first met, was literally just anything, like, spooky, scary, like creepypastas and witchcraft and all that fun stuff. And, I feel like also being a witch in that sort of sense, you're sort of, like, brought up as, like, an outcast. Like, people see you as, like, spooky, scary, you're gonna curse me and my family, you, like, sacrifice puppies and stuff like that.
Sort of the second that you're not part of either you're atheist or if you don't fit within like the common norms,
Yeah.
or it's like Christianity or Catholicism
Mhm.
or like just atheism, it's just like, oh, well, you're automatically an outsider somehow,
Yeah,
which is super weird.
exactly. And
That and being gay doesn't help.
really. And so, which is another thing that we should talk about is just why queer people are so drawn to horror and the like true crime and the strange and unusual.
I honestly feel like that might have something to do with always, like queer people also always being outsiders.
Yeah, exactly.
So outsiders drawn to other outsiders, right? I feel like there's gonna be a lot of stalls, at least for now.
Oh yeah.
But
Yeah, we're both just getting
oh,
right into like the
yeah,
podcast.
and socially awkward as
Oh yeah, like me like if I don't know, like if we met anyone in person, we're sort of just like very awkward. So, just talking to like a microphone isn't exactly any better.
yeah, especially the notion that this could be heard by hundreds of people,
Yeah, literally being on the internet for all to hear.
for all time, or until the internet ends, which unlikely.
Yeah. Yeah, like another big thing about like why I personally want to make this podcast is because I feel like that internet horror first started when the internet stopped being just chat rooms. Like when creepypasta website first came out and the SP website first came out. And not everyone was on the internet during that era, so not everyone knows exactly where to start when it comes to cryptids and ARGs and all that fun stuff. Like when I first got when I first got the internet and started exploring the internet unsupervised, I was mostly exposed to like popular creepypastas, like like oh, there's Jeff the Killer, like of course, like my favorite growing up, like there's like the Rake, and all this horror stuff, but like we didn't have ARGs like the Backrooms of the Mandela catalog like we have now, which are so good.
There's like a whole episode series right there, just the backrooms.
My God, I'm so excited to get into that.
Same with like SCP. Oh,
Mhm.
because they're so massively expansive too,
Yeah.
and they're always just new stuff being added. So it's just like forever, just like the backrooms. Shit. You imagine actually no clipping into the backrooms? How awful that'd be. I know there's like there's a bit of debate too with like the backrooms. How did this become a backrooms episode? What am I doing? But I know there's like some debate where it's like the backrooms is just one area and it's just like eternal like office space, and then there's others where it's like there's actually different levels,
Yeah.
which I think I really like that because the notion
Mm.
of like you would never know what to expect
Yeah.
is just way more terrifying than just, well, I guess eternal loneliness is also horrifying.
Yeah, and I believe that's a big thing too with the horror genre is that there's so many technicalities to it. Like, and there's again just it being internet horror, like literally anyone with internet access can contribute to all of these spooky, scary stories and legends.
That's I think the big reason SCP is really popular. Which, if you don't know, SCP stands for like Secure, Contain, Protect,
Yeah.
and it's very popular, I guess now, um, creative writing form, which is just like hundreds, if not, I don't want to say millions. Millions is over dramatic,
I feel like it will get to millions at some point.
eventually, but it's
Yeah.
probably close to
Couple 100,000.
at least like a 10,000 just pages.
Yeah.
Because like anyone with internet connection can contribute. There is a bit of like a posting process if you
Yeah.
want to like contribute to like the canon, air quote,
Yeah.
considering it's a fully Creative Commons, just whatever anyone wants to post, you can take what you want.
So I guess just speeding things up just a little bit. So we do have different social medias that you could definitely check us out on. So we do have a YouTube channel which has I'm personally going to be posting subtitles on there, and it was suspended for a period of time. I think mostly because it has queer in the title, but it is now back up and running. I can't promise for how long. However, if you do require subtitles, YouTube would be the place to go.
You just had to show them the our gay card.
Yeah, we just had to show them our gay card. Mr.
Let
YouTube.
them know it wasn't a derogatory queer.
Yeah. We queer, affectionate, queer, derogatory, two separate things. But luckily, it wasn't that hard to get back. I just emailed them, just being like, "There's nothing explicit about being queer, so please let us just talk about our scary stories."
Our spooky, scary story.
Yes. You can also check out just like quick, like little clips of us on our TikTok page. The kids just love TikTok right now. If you also just want to check out, yeah,
Holy fuck, how old are we?
uh,
I just start rapidly aging and turn into dust.
yeah, we both just turned into dust right before like your very ears. I was gonna say your very eyes, but podcast for a reason. Um, and if you also want any updates for, we are going to be posting, or at least try to post every Friday. But if you ever want like updates, if we have to go on pause for some reason, if we need like new equipment, anything like that, you can check out any updates on our Twitter and Facebook page.
Who uses Facebook anymore? How old are we?
I don't know.
I mean, I guess I'm old enough to like remember the old days of the internet.
Yeah, like I personally don't use Facebook anymore, but I thought that would be it's mostly I find a good way to like reach out, especially into our community. And so, Zach, would you like to tell the folks where they can listen to our podcast?
So you can listen to us on Spotify, YouTube. We also have the Heart Rate, our iHeartRadio. I'm pretty sure, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
we got that. We're also on Apple Podcast, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, and Audible. Well, not yet for Audible. We're working on that one, I think.
It should be up and running. I did submit to them. I have yet to receive the confirmation yet.
Let us continue on to some of the things we'll be talking about in this podcast.
So, you already briefly mentioned that we are going to be discussing SCPs on this podcast, which I'm very excited about.
Acronyms.
Yes. So, what exactly are SCPs or these internet like scary stories? Like,
So, so SCPs is again, I already kind of went over like what it stands for,
yeah.
but it's kind of and like what it generally is like a writing form. But for like a more in-depth thing, SCPs are like creatures or objects or just people who have anomalous abilities or effects around them, or sometimes it's locations. And so SCP Foundation is like this place that kind of tries to keep them locked up or away from like the public. And there's like different factions within like the canon of the universe and all kinds of stuff. It's just really
Right, you were telling me about that. I didn't like. I want to say that I love anything having to do with like internet, like quote unquote, like scary stories, like cryptids and stuff like that. But I didn't realize that there was different factions to the SCP.
Oh my God, yeah. So, without going into like too much detail on them, or like into the SCP for now, but it's like you have the Foundation, which is the SCP Foundation, the Global Occult Coalition, which is kind of like government funded SCP Foundation, but like their whole thing is like destroy all SCPs.
Oh yeah.
And then there's the next, like the third biggest one, which is the Serpent's Hand, which different lights on that one. The more positive or common one is like they're liberators for humanoid SCPs or friendly SCPs trying to just like escape the Foundation,
Yeah.
GOC, and
Free my boy.
free free 680 free 682. He has done nothing wrong. If you don't understand that, you're awesome. If you don't, we'll get to you eventually.
we will we will cater to you eventually, later down the road. Just you have to stick with
Maybe a
us.
little bit. But yeah. So it's really fun to like just deep dive into. It's very time consuming to deep dive into because there's so much.
I think at some point we'll definitely go into like our top five SCPs and like talk about them and why they're our top five, and then go into like in depth each SCP. Well, I mean, we could go into each SCP until like the sun dies out, but get to our favorites. And I guess going on to essentially like what I'm like passionate about, because you're definitely very passionate about SCPs. For
Yes.
me personally, I find that my expertise lies in Cryptids. I love cryptids so much. And every time someone asks, I always say the exact same thing, which is that cryptids are basically creatures or animals that have some proof as to their existence, like eyewitness accounts, like more specifically, but they don't have enough evidence to cement that they are in fact real. Like there's no biological component to say that they exist.
Yeah, it's I think kind of why cryptids or cryptozoology is classified as a pseudoscience
Yeah.
because like technically it's a science, but it's not a very mainstream one.
Yeah.
Like very little evidence is to it, and
Exactly. And again, there's just going back, like there's so many technicalities when it comes to cryptids cuz like cryptids come in all sort of shapes and sizes and like categories. So like there's terrestrial versus extraterrestrial, even though like those are two separate things. Like there's like like UFOs and aliens was their own thing, but there are some cryptids which have some theories that they are from outer space or from a different dimension.
I guess
Like
that'd be interdimensional then.
yeah, interdimensional. Thank you. Like for example, the Flatwoods Lake monster. One of the theories is that it's actually an alien whose like ship crash landed, and then there's also some like cryptids that are from ancient mythologies, such as like the Thunderbird. So like these,
I think the Thunderbird's a Native American.
yeah, and so there's like, oh well, could it be real if people thousands of years ago and leading up to today have reported on seeing them? Like again, like
Or it's even yeah today. Not
yeah,
like today, but point being is
like 2000s, yeah.
yeah, there's still like sightings and
Yeah, and then it could also be as simple as just like extinct animals that people are still seeing to this day. Like my biggest example, which I absolutely love, is if you've ever seen the show Destination Truth. It's essentially this show where they go out of their way for a few weeks to try and find proof that these animals still exist. And in the very first episode, they find proof of the Zanzibar tiger, which has been or Zanzibar leopard, sorry. Big cat, which was said to be extinct, and like within the first like couple weeks, they found footage to prove that it was still alive.
I've been hearing stuff. Well, like not that's maybe not a cryptid, but like the Tasmanian tiger.
Yeah,
There's like supposed reports that there's been sightings of them, but then it's like there isn't.
yeah,
It's extinct or it's endangered now, and it's like so.
yeah,
Are they out there? Yes or no?
yeah. That's basically all cryptids are. Are they out there? Maybe. We can't say definitively yes. We can't say definitively no. Oh, just one more thing is people don't seem to realize that platypus was a cryptid because who the hell would believe that there's a beaver with a duck head?
A beaver with a duck head that's like a mammal and also lays eggs. Like,
Yeah, and like sweats milk, I think, and like is like poisonous.
oh yeah, they're venomous, right?
Venomous, thank you.
Yeah, I think it's because they have like stingers or some shit under
Yeah,
like their talons, or I don't.
yeah, I believe so. Like who the hell would believe that? That sounds like the most made up creature you could ever think of, and yet it exists.
It sounds like someone's kid made up an animal and then it became a real thing.
Yeah,
Yeah, so I guess one another thing, well, on topics of like things that may or may not exist, would be like parapsychology, something else I'm very like fond of. No, so parapsychology is the study of like psychic abilities, apparitional experiences, or like ghosts, synchronicity and thaumaturgy, even like stuff like luck or just it's really hard to kind of but it's like stuff like extrasensory perception. I'm blanking. Oh my goodness. Near death experiences.
yeah, near death experiences, all that fun stuff. My like the most that I really know about it is astral projection. That's something that I'm very passionate about and very excited to get into.
Something I've tried to do and I can't do it.
Yeah,
I don't know if there's like maybe a spiritual block or just a mental one.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just something I'm not able to do
Hmm.
because I know it's kind of me with divination as well when I try and do that. It's
Yeah.
just I can't. I have a hard time with it.
yeah. There's a lot of fun stuff that we're gonna be getting into, like involving our own personal experiences as well.
And I have some doozies.
Oh, I know you do.
Yeah. Um, one to just kind of entice people is the time that I sensed my
Yeah,
grandfather pass
because
away.
you very much have psychic abilities. Like that's without a question. So I guess moving on, similar to the SCP Foundation, at least I find some people might disagree, but is the concept of ARGs.
Yeah, so I'm not overly familiar with the acronym ARG.
So ARG stands for Alternate Reality Game, which honestly doesn't really do like the subject matter justice, because at least most of the time it's not related to video games or it's not necessarily interactive. It's mostly like basically you could bring all forms of social media into it. Like there's a lot of TikTok ARGs going on at the moment where like sure you can comment, you can like the video, but it's not necessarily interactive the same way that a video game or a board game is.
Okay.
Yeah, and the one of the most famous like ARGs right now is what we mentioned before, which is the Mandela Catalog and the Backrooms, which are basically mostly like videos of stuff that happens in an alternate reality.
I did not know that's what those were called. Learn something new every day, I guess.
Oh
I'm
yeah,
sure.
which my personal favorite ARG is always going to be Marble Hornets. Always, it is amazing. It uses multiple forms of social media, mostly YouTube, but then they would also post stuff on Twitter. And if I remember correctly, they actually used multiple YouTube accounts, so it wasn't just the one. So it's basically like you have different all these different social media accounts that are interacting with one another to like build this story and build this universe, and it's such like an interesting concept.
I remember you talking about this a lot when we were in high school. Yeah, because it was like almost every conversation, it was something about the Marble Hornets. They just made something new, or yeah. Oh, I guess bringing up mass hallucinations. We'll probably also be going into like conspiracy theories, which I'm sure everyone's familiar with the concept of conspiracy theories because like they date back for like ever from just like simple shit like oh it was
The devil made me do it.
that's probably the oldest one.
Oh, definitely.
Oh, all the poor people who died because the devil made them do it. Yeah, but it was like just stuff like that, or the gators and sewers. I know you actually have that on our sheet here.
Yeah, that's like the most popular one I've been able to find.
I would cry if that was real though.
I mean, go to Florida. Go to Florida. I'm sure that there's some there.
I'm sure there's like gators and well, there's gators and pools, so I'm sure like there's some, at least a gator in the sewer down there.
Oh yeah, I'm sure if you went down to Florida, you find a gator in the chimney.
You go down to Florida, you're gonna find a gator in the middle of the street.
Yeah.
It's just walking along, minding its business. Yeah, so conspiracy theories like the gators and sewers, government cover-ups. I know there was a lot that came out during like the last few years with like vaccines and everything, which just
Just I find that with a lot of conspiracy theories, there's a lot of like problematic and anti-Semitic.
yeah, it seems to be a very common trend with a lot of them, which is really disturbing.
Yeah, and then there's some that are like really lighthearted and fun, like the gators in the sewers, like little things that you would tell like your fellow kids in grade school.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I used to have a pet alligator, and then I flushed it down the toilet, and now my mom says it's living in the sewers.
What kid, what person do you know alligators?
That's like I just saw so many like internet like message boards like that.
Oh, that's wild.
Yeah, that's where you didn't realize that's where it came from. The gators in the sewers. People would buy like yeah, or like it would be like people would like buy their kids like baby alligators or crocodiles and stuff, and then when they got too big, they try to flush them down the toilet.
I did not know that's why that started. Who was buying their kid alligators?
Florida probably.
You know what? That makes sense. I know my great grandfather on my mom's side had a lion as a kid.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it actually attacked the mailman one day. Like he had it for like years, and then one day she just kind of attacked the mailman, and then they sent her to the zoo. That and I think the
I think the lion mistook themselves for a dog. Is it supposed to be dogs that go after mailmans, not big cats?
yeah yeah my mom's family has a weird thing with like animal pets because even my grandfather he had pet raccoons.
Oh,
Yeah, which stole his sister's earrings all the time for some reason. They loved earrings.
Pretty shinies. One of the getting closer to the end here, something else that we definitely want to talk about is UFOs. So, for anyone who doesn't know, UFO does stand for unidentified flying objects, and we're also going to be talking about their association with aliens and extraterrestrials and all that fun stuff. And found this out relatively recently, but there's an alternative name, especially that the government uses, which is UAPs, unidentified aerial phenomenons, because they can't guarantee that they're like flying objects. So like, but like this could also include stuff like portals opening up in the sky or weird weather phenomenons. But basically, they're all sort of tucked underneath like ufology, and like if you ever want good examples of UAPs, you can look at like the stuff that happens over Skinwalker Ranch and stuff that happens over the Appalachia Mountains. Those are some really good examples.
Have you seen like some of those videos of like and photos of stuff out there? Wild.
I know.
It's wild. You
Yeah.
know what I'd actually really love to do, and I don't think would ever be. Well, maybe eventually, is like visit Skinwalker Ranch.
Oh my god, I would love to.
Spend a night there or something.
Yeah.
We get killed.
Lately I just binge watched the entire like season of Skinwalker Ranch. Oh my god, it's so good. Probably shouldn't be saying that name too much, but
I thought it was the Wendy boys who aren't supposed to say the name.
uh, I find that a lot of white people use them interchangeably, so it's a little hard to tell.
Because I know I was told it was the Wendy boys, and you weren't supposed to whistle at night.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if the whistling was also for like either. I don't know. I have no clue.
Yeah. Again, I find that people use them interchangeably,
Yeah.
but I find most people call them flesh pedestrians.
That's what a wild name.
I know, I love it, but I'm only saying the name now because it's literally the name of the place.
Yeah.
We're not gonna call it Flesh Pedestrian Ranch.
That takes like so much of like the like weird fear and like the strangeness from it. Well, it's so strange.
Yeah.
Like Skinwalker sounds so creepy and just like, oh my goodness, what is it? And then Flesh Pedestrian is just, I love that.
Yeah. Like, ever since we talked about starting this podcast, like, our friends have been mentioning how much they want to be on our show. Like, I don't know if they've talked to you about it, but like,
I feel like they are probably talking to you a little more because they know that you're pretty much the driving force behind this. I'll admit that freely. I'm more just lovable co-host.
says the one whose this was.
That is true.
Yeah. But yeah, like I just think that it would be so amazing to actually have people come onto our show to talk about their own horrifying experiences. And again, reaching out into our community and like there's a bunch of haunted places here where we live, like even going there talking to what are they called? Sorry, talking to these like the owners of these places about the experiences that they've had.
Who work there? Because I think you said the museum was haunted. I completely forgot that the museum here.
Oh yeah, and also Allison's bookshop.
Is it really? I'm there all the time. I did not know
Yeah.
that.
Apparently, the owner is recorded to have saying that they see, specifically in the paranormal section, books flying off shelves.
That is so funny.
I know. I like it's probably just like a ghost fucking around the paranormal section. I'll show you paranormal.
I
Ooh.
like to think it's probably the ghost of someone who was a paranormal investigator, and they're like, you know what? Everyone.
Really though. And yeah, also just for all of you lovable listeners out there, you can also submit your own stories that we might read here on the show. So you could submit to queersinthedark, all one word, at gmail.com. We will definitely read up on all of your stories, and if we enjoy it enough, it'll definitely appear on our show.
Definitely gonna be incredibly fun to do this.
Yeah, I'm very excited to get like our hands dirty and get right into it.
This is gonna. Oh, I'm gonna be obsessed with this now.
Oh yeah, cracks knuckles. Here we go, baby.
Oh, I was hoping for a little more louder cracks,
I know my pinky cracked and that was it. That was very anticlimactic.
right? Like, I got one finger, and it was this one.
Yeah, of the middle finger. You guys couldn't see that, but it was the middle finger.
See, this is why we gotta get a camera.
Yeah.
That would have been fine. That would have been great.
Yes. Eventually, we do want to record ourselves. Maybe record ourselves on Twitch. Like, I think that'd be very fun.
I'll definitely be like even for YouTube, because I know like some people really enjoy just like I know when I watch podcasts on YouTube, it's great.
Yeah. Me and my ADHD brain, I need some visual components to listen personally.
I think I need to get tested for that.
Yeah. We both do.
Yeah, an official diagnosis might help with some issues. I mean, it took me like 16 years to get diagnosed for my mental health issues, but
Took me 20, baby.
trying to one up me, Simon.
Yeah.
That's because I'm older than you.
Yeah.
I guess I'm just more mature.
Uh. Well, thank you all so much for joining us. So I believe that's all we have for today.
Well, today for this episode,
Yeah.
but we welcome you back for the next one.
Yeah, definitely stay tuned for the first season of Queers in the Dark, where we will explore the strange and unusual. We will begin our journey by talking about our first cryptid.
The Mothman,
The Mothman, our Lord and Savior.
our Lord and Savior.
So follow us on Twitter to get updates on our recording schedule, or you can follow us on our TikTok for snippets of each episode. And I believe we will see you on the other side.